The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
Welcome to the Struggling Artist Record Club recap for March, which is for South Korea's 18 Fevers. We like to start the show with some information that is not about the record, just so you get to learn a little bit more about us since we are new hosts. So for this show, I was thinking let's discuss our favorite records so far of 2026. So far, mine have been Good Riddance, Blisterhead, Converge, A Wilhelm Scream, Drug Lords of the Avenue, Hell Ripper, Mariachi El Bronx, Violent Way, and finally Philly's Poison Ruin. If you're not familiar with Poison Ruin, they basically play a totally different style of punk than any bands out there, and I highly recommend them. So Ryan, what have your favorite albums of 2026 been so far?
One of my favorite records I'm going to start with is Unseemlier. I've got a Screw Loose Somewhere, and I don't care that it was released in 2025. We got it this January as the record, so I'm counting it.
Nice.
The next three records that I've got just showed up last weekend. I haven't even played them, but I've listened to digital copies. You've got Noise, Fate of the Union.
Yeah, I got that. Yep.
I don't know which version you got, but mine, the pressing of it, I think it was the swirl pattern. Hold it one way, it looks blue. You spin it another way, it looks different. It's pretty cool.
Wow, that is cool.
And then also Drug Lords of the Avenues, Swing Another Side Project. So obviously I'm getting that one. And then I'm going to throw out Miles Bullen again. He just had another record come out called Afterlife. I mentioned him before. Aria mentioned him in Underground Noise once. And I saw him at a show, and he was kind of artist that you just want to support in every way. So his record came out. I grabbed it.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning him last time. I went ahead and downloaded him. And actually, he was playing Swarthmore, Pennsylvania. But I found out about that a few hours before the show, so unfortunately I wasn't able to go. But yeah, I've been digging him.
Yeah, good stuff.
So I'm going to go ahead and do the readout. We got, this is from Trev. He says, 18 Fevers is a punk band out of South Korea, and they have all the makings to be a huge band. Attitude, aggressiveness, and the raspy vocals we all love. Once upon a time, 18 Fevers' first single was a discovery on the early days of the Struggling Artist turntable, and I've kept my eye on them ever since. This record bounces around with the vibe due to it being, as the title says, the collection. My ADHD attention span definitely appreciates the shift. How about you? If you're a fan of bands like the Jits, L7, Amy and the Sniffers, or the Distillers, then you will love this band.
Yeah, and I've got Jerky Bill's Instagram review as well. So he starts, I hesitated putting this in this review until I could get it right. The most recent at Struggling Artist Record Club release was The Collection by 18 Fevers. My first thought was I had heard this somewhere but couldn't remember where. My next thought was a comp from a band only 4 years old? I get that part now that this is a collection and not a greatest hits thing. If it had been, I'd have been disappointed. Didn't know who the band was, so off to study I go. I had to do the same thing. Uh, WTF is, quote, death punk disco. As a child of the 70s, that was witness to the actual death of disco, this didn't smack me with the warm and punkies. Good thing it's more a joke than anything. The vocalist, Christmas, has a singular voice that could front a screamo band, like a cross between La Luna, who were more melodic than chaotic, and I'm going to butcher this name, Hiretsukan, who were more chaotic than melodic. I'm not a fan of screamo, so the fact that 18 Fevers didn't lean on that corner suits me well. Opening with Nothing Helps, the song of a downward spiral into emotional oblivion, with lyrics that were a cry for help. Repeated listening of this track wore me down, especially since there are two similar versions on this release. I couldn't figure out why this and another repeated track, Save Your Venom, didn't stand up to repeated study. Maybe disco did it. I could tell they were early singles. I think structurally they sound similar and show little in the way of advancement in style. Still good, just not maturing. Now the 3 tracks from the Cut Me Up EP, that's maturity captured. The Cut Me Up track could easily be seen as a successor to Nothing Helps. Just a Nipple calls out the shits that see women more as objects to ogle and or more. Ignorance is probably the most mature track of the disc, a warning to those who have given up to those that want to take it all away. If 18 Fevers keep that kind of maturation up, they will thrive. The record itself looks seductive in its purple and black swirl. The fact that the liner notes are in Korean as well as English proves they have not given up on where they came from. Just get away from the remakes. A remix of a song that's barely 2 years old seems lazy. Yeah, so thanks, Jerky Bill, for sending that in. Yeah, I can just read his instead of mine now. If he keeps this up.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read my review now. I'm guessing the first thing we all thought when receiving this album is, wow, a punk band from South Korea. So Ryan, is this your first Korean band on vinyl?
Yes.
I'm sure. Sure, for most of us, it's the same. Actually, for me, it's my second one. There's a hardcore band called Slant from Seoul, South Korea, and I have their last album on vinyl. They play pretty much like just straight up hardcore. Really, really good stuff. So, when trying to understand where the lyrics come from for 18 Fevers, I think having some understanding of Korean culture might help us. So I'm going to mention a long list of miscellaneous facts to help us understand 18 Fevers a little more. So Korea's social structure has long been influenced by Confucianism, which emphasizes male dominance and women having domestic duties and childbearing. Women earn 31% less than men on average. Only 6% of executives in major South Korea firms are women. Corporate culture often reinforces gender hierarchies through long working hours, male bonding traditions such as after-hour work drinking, and expectations of women to prioritize family over career. With politics, women hold only about 19% of National Assembly seats, which is below the global average. In 2012, Korea had its first female president, but she was impeached in 2017 for corruption. This didn't help females in politics as it reinforced stereotypes about females in strong positions of power. Korea has the lowest fertility rate as many young women reject marriage and motherhood due to economic insecurity, gender inequality, and a lack of work-life balance. Women's education has seen remarkable progress, though, with over 75% of young South Korean women now having an education, which often surpasses men. Feminism is on the rise with things like the Escape the Corset movement, which is a feminist campaign where women reject beauty standards by cutting their hair short and avoiding makeup. Korea is an extremely safe place to live, with 82% of people saying they feel safe walking alone at night. South Korea leads as the world's highest plastic surgeries performed per capita worldwide, surpassing Western countries. Double eyelid cosmic surgery is often given as a graduation gift to high school students. The music genre of K-pop shapes gender perceptions a lot as they perpetuate unrealistic beauty standards. And I actually remember my wife's one friend many years ago, I don't know, 6 years ago, we were drinking at a bar and he said how he wanted to travel to Korea to get a K-pop surgery. And I was like, what the hell is that? So he showed me all these pictures, and it's basically just all these people that look totally fake from their surgeries. And he was serious about it. He's like, I want to go there and get it done. They do it so often that they pretty much mastered it at an affordable price range. But luckily, he didn't end up going to do that. 1 in 3 Koreans live alone. In Korea, tipping is not required in restaurants, hotels, or taxis. Tipping is not customary and may be considered rude and disrespectful. The Korean word for 4 is pronounced sa, which is also the pronunciation for the Hanja character for death. The number 4 is considered an unlucky number given the sonic similarity to misfortune and death. Some buildings skip the 4th floor and use the letter F instead. 4 house numbers with multiple 4s, apartment 404, property values are much lower. Next time you're in an elevator and there's no 4, press F instead. To cope with South Korea's cold winters, most Koreans use electric heating mats. Most Korean homes are equipped with an ondol or floor heating system, but it can be expensive to keep it on all day. Korean millennials are obsessed with packaged bread with collectible stickers. Valentine's Day is for women to give gifts to men, and on White Day, March 14th, men return the favor, while April 14th is Black Day for single people to eat black sauce noodles. South Korean men like to make the most of their appearances, and as such is believed that almost a quarter of them use makeup as part of their daily routine. In fact, approximately 20% of the worldwide male cosmetic industry is generated by South Koreans. Westerners visiting South Korea rarely resist a visit to Haeundae Park, or as Westerners like to call it, Penis Park. As the name suggests, Haeundae Park is home to a wide range of sculptured penises, which is apparently the largest collection of animated giant penises globally. So, you can go look that up.
If I ever make it to South Korea, I'm definitely going there too.
Yeah, I mean, I saw pictures of it. It's pretty crazy. And just about done here. We got South Korea has the lowest number of obese citizens in the world. Like a number of other cultures, babies in South Korea are considered 1 year old at birth. For those not familiar with this concept, and to confuse you even more, following the new year in South Korea, everybody automatically ages a year. If therefore a newborn baby enters the world in the last week of December as a 1 year old, then the same child is considered 2 years old a couple weeks later. So, I know that was a long list. Appreciate you.
That's got to be confusing for parents.
Yeah. I mentioned that to my wife tonight, and she's like, that's ridiculous. That's not true. South Koreans, they all celebrate different birthdays. So, I don't know. But, I mean, I got it off the internet, so could be true, could not be. I don't know.
Oh, it must be true.
Yeah. So, all right. So, now we have a good background of South Korea. Maybe it'll help us understand some of these songs a little more, even though they're pretty straightforward and they don't really need that much understanding. But I thought it'd be interesting just to learn some South Korean culture. So the first 3 songs are the first songs the band ever wrote. They're just singles and they're not part of any EPs. So the album opens up with the first song they ever wrote, which is called Nothing Helps. The band said the following about this song. It's about dealing with the end of a relationship and figuring out how to move on. Sometimes it feels like nothing you do can stop the pain or help you get over the loss. But writing a song about it and then forming a band to perform that song around the world is definitely a way that helps. Using footage from our 2023 UK tour with Rum Kicks and Rebellion Festival appearance, this video shows that music can be a way to move on and heal emotionally. The video is also a love letter to all our new friends we met on tour. We tried to include you all. So my thoughts about this song, it's a solid song for being the first song they ever wrote. And it reminds me of the Distillers. But then again, every song reminds me of the Distillers since vocalist Christmas, yes, that's her name, Christmas, sounds exactly like Brody Daly. And in interviews with Christmas, she cites Brody Daly of the Distillers as a person she would like to meet and collaborate with. So when I first heard 18 Fevers, I thought, wow, that voice, it sounds so much like the Distillers. So when Christmas confirmed that Distillers were a huge influence, I knew my original thought was on point. Next up is Dance Macabre, which is one of their best songs. It has a great dancey post-punk, goth punk vibe to it. The music video for it is great as well. It's probably one of their most accessible songs, very catchy, and the vocals sound amazing. Next is Savior Venom. Here we get some early AFI backup gang vocals. The bassist for 18 Fevers is from Southern California and said if he could collaborate with any artist, it would be Davey Havok of AFI. So I would say the Distillers and early AFI mixed together would be what 18 Fevers reminds me of most, which is a good thing since I like both those bands a lot. So next up is the Cut Me Up EP, featuring the song Cut Me Up, which is a dark and danceable post-punk number. The song explores the nature of bad relationships that hurt so good you keep coming back. Lots of gang vocals and lots of energy on this song. Just a Nipple is a hardcore punk song about how women are treated as sex objects. Then the song Ignorance, which is about not wanting to take responsibility for any problems. This song is 18 Fevers' most punk song. I like how the vocals sound different from all the other songs. Gone are the raspy vocals, and instead vocals that sound like, well, I'm not really sure what they sound like, but I like it a lot. There's some oi 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 for the gang vocals. I would like to see more songs like this from the band in the future. I say that because this is their most straight up punk song, and I like straight up punk songs. Next up is the Death Punk Disco EP, which is actually called the Dance Punk Disco EP on the vinyl. I'm curious if that was a typo. The rest of the songs are a nice mix of post-punk, punk, goth, and hardcore punk. The song Never Fall is a tribute to the band's partying ways. No matter how much they party and drink, they never fall. Also, since it's winter a lot, never fall means it feels like it's never fall, never the fall season, because it's always winter. Lava Sock Records in California released the vinyl. The color of the vinyl is really cool, pink and black. It just looks amazing. They did a really good job on that. As always, no lyrics is very annoying. I kept hopping on Bandcamp. Sometimes there was lyrics, sometimes there wasn't. Then I would check Spotify. So yeah, as if you heard my other reviews, I'm not going to get into the lyrics again. I feel like I can't keep mentioning them, so I'll just do that briefly. Please include lyrics. So 18 Fevers is a band that likes to party and have fun. They love drinking and playing live. They don't fit into a specific genre, which sometimes causes issues for them in regards to playing live shows. Since the scene is so small in Korea, promoters will tell them, "Hey, I wanted to include you on the show, but you're just not hardcore enough," or "I wanted to include you on the show, but you're just not punk enough." So it can be frustrating for them to find shows sometimes because they have that party goth danceable post-punk hardcore punk vibe, and there's not really a specific scene for that wide range of styles. I enjoyed this album a lot and enjoyed watching all the videos and interview videos on YouTube as I learned more about 18 Fevers. Like everyone else, I'm sure we didn't really know about 18 Fevers, so I had to, watch as many videos online as I could. And just about all their songs have videos online, which is really cool. And this is why the Struggling Artist Record Club is so great, because I would not have normally purchased this, but now I'm a big fan. And one final thing, I was over at my mom's house for Easter, and she's still figuring out what to do with all my dad's stuff after he passed away 3 years ago. So she gave me a framed Korean poster that's 100% in Korean about my dad's great work in the military. We looked it up on Google Translations, and I told her this is so crazy because the record I'm reviewing this month for the Struggling Artist podcast is for a Korean band. It's kind of crazy how the universe works sometimes. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. You did a lot of research for this one.
I did. Well, it wasn't too busy at work the past few days, so I had time to just kind of, luckily, dive in deep. And like I said on the past podcast reviews show podcast, I really enjoy digging into and learning about bands and their albums and just diving into it. It's a lot of fun for me. So
yeah, and I think with a record like this one from a band that I don't think any of us really know, I mean, it would make sense to dig in a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and get started with my review. And I kind of just said some of this stuff. This record is a bit different from most records in that I don't think this was from a band featured on a podcast episode. According to the readout, they were mentioned back in the early days of the Turntable episodes. I will forgive you for not remembering since I don't remember either. And a little peek behind the curtain, Trev had reached out to us to ask us if he should let the club know that since this record was coming from a faraway place, and so it may be a few days late, he wanted to get our feedback. And I noticed Trev didn't share my response that I provided, so I'll do so now. This month's record is going to be a little bit late because they are coming from a faraway place, and we should feel lucky that they were willing to ship them to a country that imposes ridiculous tariffs and starts wars for no reason. And I still stand by that. Anytime.
It's weird though. It's weird. Lava Sock is from California. Maybe Lava Sock was waiting for their shipment from overseas.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but really, I've seen labels in shops that won't ship from Europe right now, just because of the tariffs.
Right.
So I'm just glad that we can still get something like this once in a while. So overall, I like this album, but I really wanted lyrics for this one. I get that it's a collection of previous releases put together on vinyl, so you got to make up for the duplicate songs by including lyrics.
Yeah, I mean they are on Bandcamp, but not all of them.
Okay, like if you go to each song in the collections.
Yeah, it took me a while just to figure out which had lyrics, which didn't, which came from what, because two songs are on it again. And then if you look at the hardcover, like I'm looking at it now, it says Dance Punk Disco EP, but online and every place else it says Death Punk Disco. So like trying to straighten it out, like what's what, where do things go to, what remixes, what has lyrics, what doesn't have lyrics. It does take kind of a lot of time just to figure out what exactly is going on. But now I have it 100% figured out, but it did take quite a bit of effort. So yeah, I mean, obviously it would be nice if they were just included the lyrics for all, and
Yeah.
so, but
Yeah. Again, I think you and I are always going to mention it, but
yeah,
I mean, we can't dig into it too much, I suppose.
yeah,
I mean, once we start our own record label, we'll make sure they're included with every release.
yeah. I
But
mean,
until that happens,
I just think if you're paying 35 to 45 to 55, 65 now for records, you gotta like make it. You gotta
yeah,
make it so people want to spend that kind of money, and just a little lyric sheet shouldn't cost that much extra.
yeah, yeah. And like I mentioned last month, I've gotten some records where the artist literally printed it out on their own printer and just stuck
Yeah,
it in,
that's fine. I don't care what
and
it looks like.
that's essentially zero cost. I mean, you got
Yeah.
to have the printer and stuff, but it's not prohibitive.
And like I've said a million times, at least put them all in Bandcamp, which is weird. Like I said, for this one, some of them, like there's one EP where like 2 out of the 3 songs have lyrics. Like it's just, I mean, I know in interviews, Christmas said, the vocalist, she's like, I won't lie, I am lazy, so I don't know if that's her controlling it. So
Hey, that's fair.
yeah,
Yeah. As you mentioned, when I gave this record a listen, I immediately thought of Brody Dalle. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. I've never heard it except when you said it. From the Distillers, which was one of the bands I spent a lot of time listening to in the early 2000s. Because Trev caught me off guard with this record, I knew I had some work to do to find out more about this band. The liner notes with basic details like this version of the song was released and we did it again with other people, so you get 2 versions, just that didn't provide enough info for me. So this turned me into every other goddamn 50-year-old white guy with a podcast, and now I have to do my own research. Fortunately, I do believe in science, so I won't be spreading any bullshit. And so Google led me to the website loudwomen.org. I recommend checking out the full interview they posted to find out more about 18 Fevers and some of the band members' influences, from the obvious Distillers to TSOL, and you mentioned AFI as well. Yeah, that interview was really good. Talked to each band member, and they basically mentioned their influences and how they were enjoying the touring in the UK and Japan and playing at the Rebellion Festival. Weird that bands aren't touring the US right now. Foreign bands.
my one friend who lives in Pittsburgh, he goes to a lot of the Rebellion festivals. So on Instagram today, I asked him, "Do you remember seeing 18 Fevers in the 2023 Rebellion Fest?" He said he didn't remember seeing them. But I thought it was cool that they played that, because that's pretty much the biggest like UK festival for street punk bands.
Yeah.
So
And
I was kind of surprised that they played that.
they mentioned that they went back the next year in 2024 and they were moved to the bigger stage. I don't know
Oh
how many
wow,
stages, but they went up a level, or at least one level.
that's cool.
So, and I also went over a few of the tracks here. I started with the opening track, Nothing Helps. I feel like I'm going to be repetitive here because it made me think I was listening to a song off the 2000 release of the Distillers' self-titled album.
Exactly.
It song seemed to me like a song about anguish felt during the end of a relationship. The song starts, and this is what, doing my best to try to hear the lyrics. It's been a disaster since you left. I've been drinking irresponsibly. How do you stay sane when you're broken? How do you stay the same when everything sucks? Yeah, I got divorced about 2.5, 3 years ago now, and so this song kind of hit me because I had felt some of those things. I've gotten past it by now, but I mean, it still brought back memories. And then the chorus, I found or I listened to it as closely as I could. It starts with "You're a scar on my arm. You're the reason I lie sometimes. I can't breathe. You're my anxiety." And then that first line, "You're a scar on my arm," there's another, later in the song, the chorus is repeated, and it's "You're a scar on my wrist." Kind of taking a much darker turn there. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that song. Just, it is a great way to start the album out. Started strong. And then the next song, Dance Macabre, they list as their most popular song. Obviously, I've listened to this record several times to familiarize myself with it. The first couple of times, I was getting into the song because it is very catchy. After too many listens, it felt a bit too poppy for me, and I found myself tuning out a bit during the song. It's definitely a song that will get you hooked, but it just got a little bit too much for me. I still like it, though.
I really wish there was lyrics for that, since it is one of their most popular songs, and I looked everywhere, but I couldn't find any. It's a cool video, though, if you've seen the video. Like I said, they make videos for just about all their songs. Not all of them, but most of them. And they're all really cool videos, so I would
I'll have to
suggest checking out. Yeah.
And then there was some, like Jerky Bill mentioned, there's a little bit of screaming going on. The screaming on a couple songs, to me, it felt a bit much. Like near the end of Dance Macabre, it felt like they were trying to reach towards a metal sound, which just didn't feel right to me. Like we discussed on Sky Tigers, I'm not into thrash or metal and adjacent subgenres, so screaming might work for you. It just didn't do it for me. I do think the screams would work during a live show to inject energy into the crowd. So I'm not opposed to it. I don't need it on a recorded version. And then I'm also going to cover the Just a Nipple song. The song features raw, aggressive vocals and lyrics addressing the double standards surrounding nudity, specifically questioning why female nipples are often deemed more offensive than male ones. South Korea is probably similar to here in America, full of people who cannot handle public displays of the feminine form. Half a lifetime ago, while I was getting my degree in economics, I maintained my sanity by also taking art classes, including black and white photography. Other students sometimes included nudity in their artwork, so I kind of take the approach that everybody's got nipples, so what's the big deal? Rules for everyone should be equal, with individuals deciding their own comfort level for public display. Yeah, I mean, it's just everybody's got a body. Who cares?
Yeah, I've always thought that as well. The nipple thing is just the stupidest thing.
As long as the people are being appropriate for the area, I mean, you wouldn't walk around like that at an elementary school. But at a beach or whatever, who cares?
Yeah, I agree exactly. You can't flaunt it, but as long as you're appropriate with it.
And everyone is being consensual. No one's forced to do anything. Yeah. I also like Save Your Venom. That song is calling out all those people in the scene that stab each other in the back and spend their time finding reasons to dislike people instead of sticking together in unity. I think that was from their Bandcamp page. So Dave and I are in a unique position where to give the albums a review, we have to listen to them a lot, and usually kind of compressed into a week or two. And so the first time I listen to a record, I usually don't get as much out of it as I wish I could, but that's with all records, even the ones I just mentioned for my favorite of the year so far. I haven't had enough time with them yet. And when there aren't lyrics, that factors into the experience as well. So on the second and third passes of songs, we're getting catchier and attracting more interest. And I like the album now. Even initially it feels a little repetitive because you do have two songs that are on there twice. But to me, that just helped me get into those two particular songs a little faster because I was hearing them essentially twice as much. And so this record shows what kind of variety the record club brings. Trev found an international supplier during a time. I don't want to read what I wrote about the person in charge of the country. He found a way to get this record to us. This is definitely a record I would not have found on my own, and now this is a band I would definitely go see live.
I can't emphasize it enough. There's interviews of them online, like 35 to 45 minutes each, and the band just, they're drinking, they're having fun, they're joking. I really enjoyed watching those videos. You can just tell they just want to have a good time. That's what this band is about. They want to play live, they want to drink beer. They just want to have a good time. You can see that in the interviews. They're joking, they're laughing, drinking beer in the interviews. Like, it's just one big party, and I just found that really cool.
It must be nice to be young and be able to do that.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Another great record. Thanks, Trev.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Trev. Appreciate it. All your hard work.
Yeah. I guess until next month.
We'll see you again.